Ever wish you could like rewind time, and kind of like refilm a video,
Yeah.
get a better angle or something, maybe catch a detail you missed the first time around? I
Yeah.
know I've definitely been there.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Well, get this. There's some seriously cutting edge research out there.
Oh.
It might just make that a reality.
Wow. Okay, I'm listening.
We're diving into this paper. It's all about ReCapture.
ReCapture.
Yeah. It's a technique. Basically, it can generate totally new videos
Really?
with you can totally customize the camera moves.
Huh.
And get this, all from just one video that you give it.
Okay. From a single video.
From a single video.
That's impressive.
So imagine taking a simple video, like something from your phone,
Right.
and then making it look all, super smooth,
Uh-huh.
cinematic movements, maybe even revealing parts of the scene that weren't even in the original frame.
I mean, that sounds like a game changer. One of the biggest challenges with this sort of thing has always been just the limited information you get from a single video
Oh, yeah.
about the 3D scene. You can't truly know what's behind stuff
Right.
or outside the original view just from that one perspective.
It's like you're trying to do of a puzzle,
Yeah,
but with some pieces missing.
exactly.
So how does this ReCapture solve that?
Well, it's a pretty smart two-step process.
Okay.
First, they make what they call an anchor video.
An anchor video.
Yeah, think of it as like a first draft
Okay.
of that new video you want.
Right.
It'll have the new camera movements, but it's going to be, well, a bit rough around the edges, so to speak.
Okay, rough around the edges.
It'll have some gaps and glitches, maybe some temporal inconsistencies too.
So it's like a work in progress, but with the new camera moves already in place.
Yeah, precisely.
I like it.
And there are two ways they do this, both using AI.
Okay.
One is called point cloud rendering.
Point cloud.
This works well for those simpler camera moves,
Okay.
like zooming, panning, or tilting.
Gotcha.
Picture turning each frame of the video into like a 3D cloud of points,
Okay.
and then they basically re-render it from this whole new viewpoint.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. But for the more complex camera paths,
Yeah.
like if you wanted to smoothly orbit around a subject,
Okay.
ReCapture uses something called a multiview diffusion model.
Multiview diffusion model.
Yeah, it's AI that's been trained on just tons of images.
Oh, wow.
It can actually predict what the scene would look like from different angles.
Ah.
Even ones that weren't in the original video.
So it's almost like it's filling in those blanks?
Exactly. Like it's using all that knowledge it has.
Wow.
But remember, at this point, we still have that rough anger video.
Right. With the glitches and all that.
Full of glitches.
Yeah.
So this is where step 2 comes in. Masked video fine-tuning.
Masked video fine-tuning.
This is really where ReCapture shines.
Okay. What happens in the fine-tuning?
Well, they use this special kind of AI. It's called a video diffusion model.
Your diffusion model.
Yeah. It essentially cleans up the anchor video.
Oh, okay.
Like polishing it up.
So this AI smooths out all those rough edges, fills in the gaps.
That's the idea. And they do it in a very, very sophisticated way, using something called temporal LoRa.
Temporal LoRa. Okay, what is that?
Imagine a part of the AI that's laser focused on learning the motion
The motion. Okay.
from the anchor video. It's like an AI choreographer making sure everything moves smoothly.
So it stops that, jerky look you get sometimes.
Exactly, but they don't stop there. There's also a context-aware spatial LoRa.
Okay, another LoRa. What's this one do?
This one's all about the visuals. It learns about the objects in the video, how they look.
Mhm.
Its job is to make sure those gaps get filled in realistically, that they actually match the original scene.
So it's making sure everything looks, believable.
Exactly. And then, for that finishing touch, they use something called SD-Edit to remove any blurriness.
So you have the anchor video with the new moves, then temporal LoRa smoothing out the motion, and spatial LoRa making sure everything looks real, like a whole team of AI specialists.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And the results, well, they're pretty impressive.
I bet. But what makes this stand out compared to other video manipulation stuff? What are the big advantages?
Well, you don't need any complex 3D data, just your regular video.
Whoa, that's amazing. So no special cameras?
Nope, just the simple video, and boom, you can do all this.
I like it. And it can handle complex scenes too.
Yeah, and movements. Remember that shaky vacation footage?
Oh yeah.
ReCapture could smooth it right out, give it a whole new look.
I can see it now, rescuing all those less than perfect home movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it opens up so many creative possibilities. Take a simple video, make it look like a movie.
Speaking of, I'm looking at figure 6 in the paper.
Yeah.
Some of these examples, they're really amazing. Zoom, pan, tilt.
It's really cool how natural the results look.
Even like orbiting shots.
It's a real testament to the research team. But of course, this is still research.
Right.
So it's not perfect.
Yeah.
There might be a few glitches.
Sure.
And the quality depends on the original footage, of course.
Makes sense. So not ready for prime time just yet?
Not quite.
But what about the future? What if this became widely available?
Oh, the potential is huge. Editing home movies, creating dynamic content, maybe even new ways to experience VR.
I'm getting excited just thinking about it. This could totally change how we interact with video.
It really could. It's powerful stuff.
And that's what makes these deep dives so fascinating, right?
Absolutely.
Uncovering these technologies, figuring out what they might mean for the future. Now, I know we've just scratched the surface of how this actually works. You mentioned mask diffusion loss.
Yeah.
And those LoRAs sound intriguing too.
Uh-huh.
Can we go a bit deeper on the technical details?
Absolutely. Let's unpack those concepts a bit so you can really see the magic behind ReCapture. Okay, so let's start with that masked diffusion loss.
Right.
Remember how we were talking about those gaps and glitches in the anchor video?
Yeah.
Well, the masked diffusion loss kind of steps in and tells the AI to just ignore those messy parts
Oh, okay.
while it's learning. Like, imagine an art restorer working on a damaged painting.
Right.
They'd focus on the parts that are still good
Makes sense.
to guide the restoration and ignore the missing bits. That's what the AI is doing.
I see. Focusing on the good parts of the anchor video.
Exactly, to learn from and create the best final result.
So it's like giving the AI a roadmap to avoid the potholes.
Exactly.
Now, what about those LoRAs we talked about?
Right.
They sound like pretty serious AI stuff. Are they specific to each video, or are they more like general tools?
That's a great question. Those LoRAs are actually fine-tuned for each individual video.
Okay.
Remember how we were saying the temporal LoRa learns the motion patterns?
Uh-huh.
And the spatial LoRa, that's all about the objects and how they look?
Yeah.
Well, all of that's going to be totally unique to each video.
So it's like every time ReCapture is used,
Right.
it's creating a customized set of tools just for that video.
That's right. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing at all. It's adapting, learning the little nuances of each video it works with.
That's amazing. So it's like a personal AI film crew. Knows exactly what to do.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I like that.
One last thing I've been wondering about. You mentioned STE, it took a final step.
Right.
What's the point of that?
Well, even after all the fancy stuff we talked about, there could still be a little blurriness in the final video. SDE'd it, just sharpens things up, gives it that extra polish.
So it's all about making sure it looks as good as possible.
Exactly. Now, you also mentioned point cloud sequence rendering and multiview image diffusion.
Oh, yeah.
I know those terms can sound kind of intimidating.
Just a little bit.
But they're actually pretty fascinating when you break them down.
Yeah, I'd love to understand them better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so for point cloud sequence rendering, remember we were talking about creating that initial anchor video?
Yeah, the first step.
Right. So if you're going for those simpler camera moves, the zoom, pan, tilt kind of stuff, point cloud rendering works really well.
Okay.
Imagine taking each frame and turning it into a 3D model. But instead of being like a solid model, it's made up of points.
So it's like a 3D version of the scene, but made of points.
Precisely.
Okay.
And you can actually move this 3D model around. You can zoom in and out, create a whole new viewpoint.
It's like you're taking a still image and suddenly you can walk around in it.
Yeah. That's a great way to think about it. And that's how you get the anchor video.
Gotcha. Which then gets all cleaned up and polished with the LoRAs and everything.
Exactly.
It's amazing how all these pieces come together. But what about multiview image diffusion? When do they use that?
So multiview image diffusion is for when you want to do those more complex camera movements, like a smooth orbit around a subject.
Oh, right. The point cloud stuff wouldn't be so good for that.
Right. It can struggle with those bigger rotations. That's when you bring in the multiview diffusion.
Okay.
It uses an AI that's been trained on a massive data set of images from all sorts of viewpoints. So even if your original video only showed things from one angle,
Right.
the AI can use all its knowledge to fill in the gaps. It can basically imagine what the scene would look like from all those other angles.
So even though the original video didn't capture everything, the AI can kind of complete the picture.
Exactly. And that's how they get a much more realistic anchor video, even with those complex camera moves.
So it sounds like they use point cloud for simple moves.
Yeah.
And multi-view diffusion for complex moves. ReCapture picks the right tool for the job.
Precisely. It's really clever like that.
It's amazing. I mean, this is definitely groundbreaking research. What else is coming in the future, for AI and video stuff?
Who knows? It's a really exciting time.
This has been awesome, learning about ReCapture. It's crazy to think about how we'll be making videos in the future.
I know, right?
I'm excited to see where it all goes. I mean, could you imagine this technology built right into our video editing apps?
That would be incredible. Everyone would be making amazing videos.
Well, thanks for joining me for this deep dive. I always learn so much.
It's been my pleasure. I always enjoy these conversations.
I mean, it's just mind-boggling. We could be like right on the edge of this whole new era of video.
It really is amazing.
And the fact that it doesn't need any of that fancy equipment.
Right.
You could literally just take like a phone video.
Yeah.
And reimagine it. It's crazy.
It's democratizing filmmaker.
Totally. Imagine the possibilities.
Yeah.
Like for aspiring filmmakers.
Yeah.
Even just everyday people want to make their videos look cool.
Exactly.
Who knows what kind of creativity this will unlock.
Yeah.
But I mean, like with any powerful tool, there's two sides, right?
Right.
We've been talking about the good stuff.
Uh-huh.
But are there any like downsides?
Yeah.
Risks?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. It's something that everyone's thinking about as this all develops. One thing that comes to mind is deepfakes.
Oh, yeah.
Those are already a concern.
Big time.
Even without something like ReCapture.
And this just takes it to another level.
Exactly. As it gets more sophisticated, we have to be really careful about misinformation, you know?
Yeah.
People can make videos that look totally real.
And use them for bad things.
Exactly.
It's like we need a whole new kind of media literacy.
I agree.
Gotta be extra careful about what we believe.
Especially online.
So it's not just the tech itself.
Right.
It's how we use it.
Yeah.
As people, as a society.
It's about responsibility, having those conversations about ethics.
Yeah.
This stuff is powerful. Researchers, developers, policymakers, everyone has a role to play.
Well said. This deep dive has been incredible. I'm so excited for the future, but also, cautious.
Yeah.
It shows how amazing we can be. But also, we got to use that for good.
Well said.
Thanks for joining me on this journey into the future.
It's been a pleasure, as always.
And to everyone listening, thanks for diving in with us. Until next time, stay curious.